I'm Texas forever.
All these drugs just make me anxious. Look, I'm just tryna f you, not them hoes you came with. Pull up on 6 so loud and banging. Yeah, Texas forever, still twisting my fingers. Texas forever, you speaking my language. Look, all in the day, but Wednesday. Out in the field trying to school me a deal. Put my name by that X like I'm Kimbe. I do it off of my team, just a young covered in green like I'm Dende. We ain't compadres comprende. Clutch city, crush city, whatever you call it. I stay with my friends, stay hands in, never hand out. Look, I had to go get it, my everybody say I'm the man now. Wrist moving in and out the kitchen. My might pull up on 6 in the whip, whipping it. I'm just a young getting it. All I had was the pot I was pissing in. Now everybody want pieces, percentages. I'm just trying to get my niggas over. I did the work that they want. All this money, cash, cars, clothes, hoes. Coming in fast, but I'm sipping slow. This is Texas forever. You already know. It's more down there.
Texas forever.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to a brand new inaugural first episode here for the new 2025 season of the H-Town Huddle. So appreciate everybody for tuning in, showing up and showing out, just like we always do here on the channel, the GWN Network, Generational Wealth Net, the mothership. So if you guys aren't subscribed to that, please make sure that you do that. Do me a solid, give the video a like, follow Neon Peacock merch channel, follow GWN, and then follow everybody else on their Heart to Start and all the other good guys out there, Guru Nation, Spencer the Guru, and all the other sister channels on the GWN. We just came back from Vegas a couple weeks ago, and now the season's about to kick off. We have football in less than 24 hours. This time tomorrow, it'll probably be about halftime of the season opener between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. So there will be a Playmakers watch party on the GWN network as well. So make sure you guys are checking that out. But just like I mentioned, you are tuned in here to the H-Town Huddle. There it is, H-Town Huddle, sponsored by NeonPeacockMerch.com. Make sure you guys head on over to NeonPeacockMerch.com and check that out. We do have a sale happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. Labor Day sale has been extended. $12.50 tees, 40% off everything else on the website. Go, please check that out. Do me a solid. That is the sponsor of the show. Support an artist here and support the GWN network. And if you guys are new to the channel, like I said, make sure you're liking and subscribing, checking that out. Make sure you check out NeonPeacockMerch.com. I'm wearing a Neon Peacock merch shirt right now. Got it on the crest. I have the same dripping H logo on the back. So lots of cool stuff, lots of cool gear for your teams, cool things out there, lots of self-made creation stuff. But if you guys have an idea for a shirt, get at me. I can put it up on the website as well. So that's happening right now. $12.50 tees, 40% off everything else on the website, NeonPeacockMerch.com. So today's first episode back, what we typically do here is I give you all the inside information for the Houston Texans that I have gathered, my inside thoughts, and I help you make fantasy decisions based on that, give you the fantasy implications. So this is probably the only digital Houston Texans fantasy show out there on the YouTube and on the interweb. So make sure you're locked in with me, share it with your friends, any Houston Texans fans. But of course, we'll be talking about the Rams a little bit as well. That is our week 1 matchup. And we'll be talking football, answering questions. So check that out. Make sure you're checking out the watch party tomorrow night on the Real Fantasy Playmakers, GWN. Can't plug those guys enough. Good folks. We just came back from Vegas, had a hell of a time drafting out there, the West Side League. So shout out to everybody there. Shout out to some of the guys in the comments already. There's Derek, man. Appreciate you. Bogart and all the other folks out there. So we had a blast out there in Vegas. Good, clean, fun. Great time drafting, but appreciate everybody for showing up here. Like I said, NeonPeacockMerch.com is presenting H-Town Huddle for you tonight. And in case you guys didn't know, if you want to get some of that gear, here goes the promo video for NeonPeacockMerch.com. sir. There it is once again, neonpeacockmerch.com. Go check that out. Check out the sale happening right there in the marquee scrolling down below. And yeah, that's going on until 9/9, so plenty of time to get some gear put up on the website, get at me, or get some of the stuff that's already on there. Have an extensive football collection as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that's just up there. It's kind of silly as well, but a lot of good designs. So, but back to football. Like I said, just to answer this question real quick, boom, how long is Joe Mixon out for? Guaranteed 4 weeks. He's on the NFI list right now, Derek. So yeah, I know you took him in a couple of leagues, so did I. So put him on the PUP list or the IR, and then cross your fingers that he'll be back in 4 weeks. Otherwise, I'll get into the what could be a mess of a committee in the backfield for the Houston Texans here in a little bit. But yeah, shout out to Vegas, shout out to the times at the pools, good stuff. And yeah, the West Side League, man, great times. 14-teamer, $200 entry. So big money, good stake, high stake league. But yeah, so Houston Texans, man, big news off the top. We just talked about that one right there. Joe Mixon's not going to be available. It should be Nick Chubb and some combination of Damian Pierce or Woody Marks. So right off the top here, let's just get into it. I think here's a tweet here from Texas football. And whoops, let me go to a better view there. Here we go. There we go. Oh yeah, they were just talking about the offensive line. And here is the Deontay Ursary is going to make his start. And on the unofficial depth chart that was released down there below, you can see it. It's not really a good screenshot. Sorry about that. But Ursary starting, Tomlinson, Jake Andrews, Ed Ingram, Titus Howard is your starting offensive line. You have Jaden Higgins listed as the wide receiver 2, and some news came out with the unofficial depth chart. Did I get that one? A screenshot of that one today? I don't think I did. But apparently Christian Kirk did not practice today with a hamstring. So that's the first news I hear about that. That's kind of some big news. So maybe that's why we see the Jaden Higgins as opposite wide receiver 2 for Nico Collins. So if you do have Christian Kirk on your fantasy football team, just be checking that news going into Sunday. Please have a pivot. They are the later game. This is the 3:00 game versus the Rams. So have a pivot if he was your wide receiver 3 or maybe a flex. You're thinking about doing that. Maybe look into your bench or on the waiver wire for a better matchup play and somebody who's healthy this weekend. Hey, shout out to Brandon. What's going on? Conspiracy theory. Former Jags players refuse to play any games for us. Yeah, so that's in regards to the Christian Kirk news there. Yeah. So, oh no, yeah, exactly. But so Christian Kirk, arrow pointing down at the moment. We'll see how serious that may be. Maybe it's a veteran rest day kind of thing. Like he's not practicing. I think he had a hamstring issue way earlier in camp, and they're just going to kind of hold him out. So really be on the lookout for tomorrow. But I just want to have the antenna up for you guys who do have some Christian Kirk shares there. Just be on the lookout for that. So that's straight up the news today. That's kind of irks me a little bit, but not to worry. If he does miss for some reason, you will see some of the rookies probably step up a little bit or more into some wide receiver sets, 2 and 3 wide receiver sets. That would mean that we would probably see a little bit more of Jalen Noel, who would be the direct replacement for Christian Kirk in the offense. So, yeah, Cam Robinson, Ronald Darby. Yeah, Cam Robinson also not there. Ursary making the start over him. And Darby just straight up not even I think he just straight up retired before the season started, something like that. So not good luck with those players. Good point there. Brandon, appreciate you for being up there in the chat. Some other big news I do want to talk about, though. Davis Mills got extended for 1 year. Not necessarily fantasy relevant, but we do know that he will be the backup there if something were to ever happen to CJ Stroud. Hopefully not. But he extended it through 2026 season, another $7 million off of, I think he had a $10 million contract, which he had signed before that, or extension before that. So $17 million over the last 2 years for Davis Mills, who is expecting a baby. So congratulations to Judge Davis Mills with the extension. And no, we're not talking about his neck. We are talking about his contract with the Houston Texans, but congratulations to him in that regard. All right. Whoops. How do I take these overlays off? There we go. All right, Mr. Longneck, no Diddy, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Happening 3 times. That's something is maybe the Jags are trying to sabotage the Texans here. But, we're facing the Rams, and that's the opponent here. So try to focus a little bit more on them. We do have the game preview for the Rams in store. I'm going to kind of push through this episode rather quickly. I do have a 10 p.m. draft coming up here, 10-man league. Shout out to Papa Guru, Guru Nation, and the GWN Network for putting that one together, spitting that thing together. Has some IDPs and a team defense, so I got to do some research on Sleeper before that. If for some reason it bleeds into the 10 o'clock hour here and we still got some viewers going, I got the number 2 pick, so maybe we can stick around and see what happens there. But for the meantime, not sweating it. Gone through a couple of drafts already. This is my last redraft. I think this is my 18th or 19th league. It's not super huge money. I think it's like $35. So just putting one together for Papa Guru and the crew. Going to check out what happens. So this is my only 10 team league that I'm in. So we'll see how that's going. But yeah, Matthew Stafford is starting ? That is correct. Matthew Stafford is a go for this game, and that leads right into the matchups that we have going on there. We got CJ Stroud versus Matty Stafford. I heard Landry Locker, shout out to SNL and those guys out there. I know Brandon watches them, but I heard a reference to the old HBK, Ric Flair. Matthew Stafford obviously dealing with some back pain, some back issues, had an epidural. He is 37 years old, had an epidural shot sometime within the last 2 weeks, I believe. Is expected to play. If that was me, I'd be a little bit worried about myself, but we'll see how manageable that is. Obviously, they're going to have a game plan. They're probably going to try to run at the Texans, lean on that, get the ball out quick. I'd imagine that this offensive attack is going to kind of mirror each other. I think the Texans are going to, because of their weak offensive line, are going to try to do that pre-snap motion, get the ball out quick, lean on the running game as much as possible, try to get a flow that way, and then use that to kind of, get a pass going downfield if they can take their shots, win and where they can, not as much as forcing it down the field like they did last year with Bobby Slowick, stuck in 3rd and long situations. But on the other side, Matthew Stafford is a little bit older. They have had some offensive line continuity issues. I think their left tackle was missing some practice time this week, barely returned this week, was dealing with blood clots, is expected to start, I believe, according to head coach Sean McVay. Let's see, I think I have something there. There we go. Alaric Jackson, blood clots. He did practice on Monday. Sean McVay also said the Rams will monitor him throughout the week, but plan is for him to start against the Texans as well. And that's from Stu Jackson on the X app. No longer the Bird app, unfortunately. I don't know what Elon's doing, but anyhow, anyway. But yeah. So yeah, he needed the labor pain drugs. Yeah, he did. And so, 37 years old. I don't know how epidurals work. I probably should have asked my wife before I came onto the podcast, but I know that she didn't have great experiences with those. And there were some lingering effects afterwards. So we'll see how Matthew Stafford deals with this. I don't know if it's exactly the same type of thing, obviously. But still, an epidural does mean some sort of injection into the spine. So that suggests, I think, some sort of slip disc. I've dealt with those before. If he's very, managing the pain, can stretch out, and he doesn't have any issues with that, then he's fine. Otherwise, any kind of hit or sharp aggravation to that, and if he's been dealing with this recently, then I'd be kind of worried about him actually finishing this game if his offensive line doesn't hold up, or the Texans front is having a field day, getting to the quarterback. So, hey, Philip, shout out to Philip. Appreciate you for being out here, man. Thanks for showing up to this brief impromptu, but still I wanted to be on schedule. This is the Wednesday before week 1. We're going to try to do this podcast every Wednesday once the injury report is released, and then we'll kind of monitor, that and see how it trends towards the weekend. Just telling you guys to keep an eye out and have pivot options for certain fantasy players. If you're just joining us, Matt Stafford is starting. He is expected to play. We're talking about his epidural and back shots. Ooh, pause. And I don't have the drops. I got to put them in on this particular backdrop and everything right now, but we'll get all that going in the near future. I did have the new intro with the new clips, with the new highlights. If you guys check that out, shout out to my cousin for doing the intro song. And I did have a new 30-second intro as well, the short version, if you guys want to check that out. let's just take a quick break and do that. And we are back from the short break. I hope you enjoyed that. The back shots joke was unintentional, but it's hilarious. So yeah, the left tackle and Matt Stafford both, missing plenty of time. Cold start. Yeah, the last 2 seasons, the Rams have started off a little bit slow. Overall, 6-2 though. Is head coach Sean McVay in opening games over the last 8 seasons. So, like I said, they're kind of on the, those other wins or whatever kind of came early on the last 2 years, kind of starting off a little bit slower than usual. And they didn't play any of their starters, I think, over the preseason. So kind of just showing up this week, having an inner team kind of scrimmage and just expecting to hold their own against the Texans might not be the best strategy, but, we'll see how that goes. Fire intro. Appreciate you, Bogart. Yep, that was the little 30-second bad boy. We do have the longer one that I did redo with the same song from shout out to my cousin Roy Dale out there in Houston. Woody Marks higher on the depth chart than Bill. Yeah, he is. Bill all the way back at RB4, man. But unofficial depth charts, we did talk about this in the group chat earlier today. Pay more attention to, I guess, the one that's released right before game time. As we'll have some players ruled out, and those things might align a little bit better. We'll have some more clarity, maybe something officially released from some certain teams before games. But unofficial depth chart does have Woody, I think, at RB3, if I'm not mistaken. But because Mixon's out, it would be Chubb RB1, Pierce getting the second crack at it. I do think that there will be somewhat of a timeshare there, and then probably a Woody or a Goon, that's my nickname for Dare Ogunbowale there. And Dare Ogunbowale was actually named team captain, and this is voted on by other players in the locker room. So there you have it. You have CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Will Anderson, Aziz Al-Shire, and the Goon, Dare Ogunbowale. So my guess is that, the guy can kind of do it all as a special teams savant. And yeah, so Woody Marks, though, we'll see just what type of opportunities he may get. I think that he may or may not be trusted in pass protection. I think that he's good right now, but obviously Dare Ogunbowale is, the veteran. I don't really know how it's going to shake out. Maybe they're going to rotate series on offense. I do know that Nick Caley's probably going to, want to go fast, play tempo. CJ Stroud's going to have the opportunity to change plays at the line of scrimmage, something that he hasn't had the opportunity to do over the last couple of years. They're going to go double tights. They're going to probably try to play 2 slats if Kirk is available and open to play. So they get the ball out quick. Like I said, have Dalton Schultz shooting up the seams, things like that. And just, 3-step drops and quick reads, and have, safety valves and ways to maybe dump the ball off. So maybe there's where we would see something of an emergence for Woody Marks. So it's going to be interesting to see how the whole backfield thing kind of shakes out. I do know that they're going to want to lean on the run. So my guess is you're going to have Nick Chubb going out in first and second downs. If he's not effective, Dameon Pierce is obviously going to get a crack at it. Dameon Pierce does have the ability to break a long run as well. And I heard CJ Stroud talk about it in a press conference that he expects him to have a breakout season in this running style, which is a little bit more downhill and, kind of more tailored to what Dameon Pierce is good at. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So there it is. Yeah. I hope I answered your question there, Derek. I think that it's going to be Chubb 1A, Pierce maybe 1B, or get in, a series every 3 series or something like that, rotate in. Right now, I'm not too sure because he was working back from an injury as well, but I think he's a little bit more explosive or has a little bit more juice than Nick Chubb right now. I've heard from the coaching staff, though, that Nick Chubb is getting better as time progresses, and he's just looking, good as, he gets more practice time in there, and probably, as well as coming back from that devastating injury. So we'll see how it goes. But time will tell on that. I think that it's going to be, very telling, what happens week one. And that's probably going to be the blueprint for how they move forward or try to attack, defenses as a whole until they figure out the run game or, if Joe Mixon makes his way back. But yeah, we'll see what happens. What's up, Lee? Appreciate you, man. Yeah, the Houston Huddle is back, baby. So yeah, we're back at it. Yeah, I kind of ran through some of the questions there, did talk about the sale going on the website. Houston does visit SoFi for the first time ever. So they are in Los Angeles. CJ Stroud, though, gets to go back to, where he was kind of born and raised in the streets there of LA or whatever. But, kind of back home playing where he's comfortable. So I think that, he may, and it's a later time slot game. It's not the early slot. So it's a little bit different for the Texans as well. A little bit of time to adjust there. Devontae Adams is going to make his Rams debut. I think he is good for probably a score. He is projected, I think, somewhere around 70 yards. Both he and Puka Nacua. So they're expecting to do a little bit of damage versus this Texans secondary, and that's another big matchup. Matt Stafford making his 17th year start. He's projected to throw, or he has thrown in the past between 240 and 340 yards in his last 4 starts. During week one, and he's had a career 90.3 rating in that span. But like I said, coming off of basically no practice, back pains, epidural, facing a very tough Houston Texans defense and the nightmare fuel that is Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Look at those veins on those arms. Anyway, so very intimidating stuff. I'd be very worried if I was Matt Stafford. I did have him as my second quarterback in the home league, and I dropped him, picked up Geno Smith because, kind of get points per reception type of deal, stuff going on there. And the more accurate your quarterback is, the better for you there because you get points taken away for incompletions as well. Anyways, long story short, picked up Geno. May or may not start him over Drake May week one, but that's for the Grit Don't Quit on Sunday morning. Make sure you guys are checking that out. We can answer all your lineup questions. If you have a super chat or way to donate to us or whatever, those questions will move up to the top of the list and we will get those answered for you right away. So we'll see what's going on. Revenge game for your Bolts. We're not talking about the Bolts. This is H-Town Huddle. Never played there before, but now we play there twice in one season. Yeah, crazy. So hopefully we get used to it. Hopefully CJ is accustomed and acclimated to what's going on there. Love a good old homecoming. He's about to line them up. Yeah, the corners are suspect for real, and the Houston Texans do have a pretty decent passing attack. I think there was an overlay. That's the one I was wanting to talk about earlier there. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams will be facing the Houston Texans secondary. It's consisting of, and not limited to, Jalen Petrie, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, with Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, and none other than Derek Stingley. That's just an all-star cast. So when people come out here and they want to predict that, the Rams are just going to walk all over the Texans like they normally do in these game preview picks from the quote-unquote experts, I just feel like, the Texans defense is severely underrated. And, early on in these games, when the defense may or may not have an edge and run away with some of these things. So I think that, the Rams being, see the odds, the Rams being, I think, 3-point favorites at home, kind of a little push. I think that's more of like a pick 'em, to be honest. That's just a field goal difference in the spread there. And then you got your anytime TD scorers. They really like Kyren. They really like everybody except for the Texans players, not named Nico Collins. So it is what it is there. I think there's a little bit of disrespect, but there's also a lot of unknown with Nick Caley in the offense and what's going to happen there. I think that if you look back, though, in his success with the Rams and, what he's done there, and then also his success with the Patriots, I think that the Texans are going to maybe surprise people a little bit and at least be middle of the pack as far as it comes, right out of the gate, with their offense. So let's see if there's any other things I really wanted to touch on. Yeah, we talked about the offensive line. There it is. Titus. I mean, as long as it's not Laramie Tunsil with his shirt open wearing like Louis Vuitton shoes. Did you see that recently? He was talking about his style. I'm just glad he's not on our team right now. Like, that's such a distraction. Has nothing to do with football. But yeah, we were talking about the 53-man roster not too long ago. They only carry 2 tight ends at the moment. There are your running backs, Chubb, Marks, Pierce, in no particular order, the Goon, and British Brooks, who can play some tight end and fullback. Be interesting to see if they make any one of these wide receivers or anybody inactive to try to bring up Harrison Bryant from the practice squad and roll with 3 wide receivers. They're going to do a lot of 2 wide receiver sets, so might be It might be nice to have an extra one there, unless they just plan on using British Brooks in that role. But we'll see how that plays out. We did talk about the defensive backs. That's everybody who's made the roster. No big deal there. Talked about that. Don't need to talk about practice squad players too much. I did say Harrison Bryant, the tight end, may be someone that they'd look upon because they're kind of thin there. We do have Brevin Jordan, who had that injury. Irv Smith is also on the IR. What a surprise. So just really thin at that position once again. Kate Stover might be somebody that if you're in a deep dynasty league, get him off your taxi squad and take a look at your options, because he might get some play, especially in this Nick Caley offense that likes to get the ball out quick and has tight ends moving up and down the seams and into the flats. So, yeah. Mr. Falstart himself, yeah, we're not going to miss Laremy Tunsil too much. I think that dedicating a whole chunk of your money and attention to one guy who doesn't necessarily set the tone the way that you want to, now you kind of even playing field, everybody, kind of have at it. I feel like it was that meme in The Dark Knight where the Joker kind of, he breaks the pool stick and he's like, fight for a position. Basically said that with the rest of the offensive line. Said we have 5 spots. They had 10 guys that they had, I think, at one point, maybe even more. And they said, we're only going to carry so many, and may the best 5, come out of there. And, the second round pick, Ayante Ursary, earned the starting left tackle's position. So, see how it goes. Hey, what's up, Cap for Life? Yeah, thoughts on Woody Marks? I kind of already mentioned it a little bit. I think that he's going to get a crack eventually, but he's probably like a longer play, maybe not so quick out of the gate unless they see something spectacular. I think they really do like Dario Ngubadwale as well to kind of just fill the pass catching role, set the tone, kind of show him the ropes, and then Woody Marks will maybe take over by like week 3, week 4, if they're going to have a specific pass catching role. But if Nick Chubb looks good or Dameon Pierce looks good at catching the ball out of the backfield, then it's going to be tough for him to kind of make his way onto the field. I think it's going to be Nick Chubb getting first crack at the early down work, maybe Dameon Pierce coming in because he can catch the football as well. But we will see what they do. I do know that watching them in preseason, Dario Ngubadwale was out there running Texas routes, got a target in the end zone, and they trusted him in that role last year as well. So I don't know where the position battle necessarily is there. I think a lot of people want Woody Marks to overtake that because of the ceiling and the juice and what he was able to do, and he's younger. So I think that's going to be one of those eventually things, and maybe not week 1, unfortunately. Appreciate the comments coming in, guys. EJ Speed going to get a good amount of playing time. My guess is that he will be a rotational guy that's going to be coming in, probably taking H2O off the field. You don't pay somebody like EJ Speed so much money, so I think Speed will probably come in. I don't know. It depends, right? Speed's a tackling machine, could be kind of suspect in coverage. I don't know who they trust there more. I do think that the way they have that stuff lined up, it's Aziz, H2O, Christian Harris, then EJ Speed. So I do believe he's going to get a lot of playing time, though. If anything, maybe they'll remove somebody like Jalen Petrie, who plays that nickel linebacker role, and kind of like switch him out from there. So they'll, maybe they trust Speed a little bit more in a tackling situation in early downs, and then Petrie comes in, right? Or CJ Gardner-Johnson at the strong safety position gets pulled, and they'll put in somebody like Speed or Christian Harris. There's a lot of things that they can do. I talked with Bogart about this, though, before. The Texans run a 4-2-5 defense, basically, which means they only run with 2 linebackers because I guess because of the way things were last year, and they were so limited at that position, and they had really good secondary and then a great front 4 that they didn't have to bring a lot of exotic dialed in blitzes or anything like that. They did it with the secondary more than the linebackers, and they just kind of had the linebackers playing reaction. Now you have the D'Amico Ryans can kind of play around with those guys in IDP. So it's going to be kind of tricky to see what happens and how they do that. But they paid Jalen Petrie a lot of money. They paid the EJ Speed a lot of money. H2O is a guy who I think played his way into a starting position. And then Aziz Al-Shire is just the dude. So we're going to see how it shakes out between Christian Harris and EJ Speed coming in to rotate over H2O. And these guys play reckless and wild and crazy and fast. So there's going to be some injuries, and there's going to be some guys who are going to need to rotate in. So I think that they are going to have a lot of opportunities, a lot of these guys, to make plays all over the field, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and then let the second half, the back end, whip around and make plays with their speed and ball hawk ability. So, yeah, I think he's going to get playing time. I don't know how much that is to be determined, and I think a lot of it is dependent on what the other team is doing as well, right? So if the other team's going to try to run the football a lot, I think EJ Speed's going to get a lot of playing time. If their other team finds themselves trailing and they're going to be passing a lot, I think Christian Harris is going to get a lot of playing time. So I think that's kind of how D'Amico Ryans may play this situation, but he has a lot of options at his disposal on defense. So I think that's another thing. The Texans are being a little underrated on defense as well, and maybe the Rams, to their credit, though. I mean, these are both 10-7 teams from last year. The Rams played the Super Bowl champion Eagles very well in the playoffs, but almost knocked them out. It was probably the toughest game the Eagles had. So, give credit where credit's due. But at the same time, I think that the Texans are young and hungry. And so I'm hoping for an upset win in this situation, because that's how DraftKings and everybody has it, that the Texans are going to lose this one on the road at their first trip to SoFi. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, just to mark this down, Kyron Williams ran for 50 and 52 yards in his last 2 week 1 starts. I think that on some of those websites, they have him for like 50 yards as well. So the over-under there is just a push. But yeah. I think I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Here are some of these over-unders that we can take a look at, just to give you an idea, fantasy-wise, what's going to be going on. I'll probably be logging off here in the next 8 minutes or so. That way I can get prepared for the 10-man draft that we're going to be doing for Spencer the Guru's Papa Guru League. But Stafford is under the 244. The projection is 229. And then Jaden Higgins, 15.5 receiving yards. There's an over there. He's projected 25. Stroud, 229 passing yards. The over's projected at 239. Adams, over 54 receiving yards. He's projected at 61. Higbee, we don't care about. Kyron, okay, the rush yards are 65 and the over 70. I might smash the under on this one. I think the Texans have a really good stout run defense, and their interior is highly undervalued. Guys like Tim Settle, Mario Edwards, Tago. I can't even pronounce all these guys' names, but they have a really stout interior defensive line. I think that they're going to be pretty good. Now, Puka going over 70 receiving yards, I might see it if he's being peppered with a lot of targets. Nico Collins over 77. I could see that. Now, Nick Chubb under 40. And that, under 45, you see stuff like that. So it's discouraging. The same thing with Christian Kirk, and that's probably because of the injury. Dalton Schultz receiving a over 26 line. Chubb under, so they only have him getting about 10 carries in this game. So I do think that you will see some Dameon Pierce, and I think that that's what's being projected as well. Stafford under 33 pass attempts, so probably trying to protect him and run the football a lot with Kyron. Over 16.5 rush attempts if you go all the way down for him there. So, yeah. So these lines are and these are brought to you by Betting Pros. I don't remember. I'm sorry, but I think it's Betting Pros. But these kind of give you an indication as to what they're thinking here. Devontae Adams at about 5 receptions. Stroud under 32 pass attempts. So they're expecting a defensive probably game here. My guess, and a lot leaning heavily on the run game, and unfortunately that doesn't lead to very exciting football. If you look at some of these score predictions, I think the over under was 44, so Daniel Jeremiah, all the ones hitting close to the over would have the Texans. Otherwise they have the Rams winning a low scoring game, all the other folks who predicted that. So in order for the Rams to win, it appears, or in order for the Texans to win, it appears they'd have to score upwards of 24 points, according to some of the experts on, I think that's, I don't remember, NFL.com. I don't know. Whoever Adam Rank works for, Yahoo. Not too sure. But yeah, that's right. H-Town Huddle is back. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. That was really fun. I think I touched on everything. So start your Stroud, though. I think that he'll have a decent game. You drafted him, and especially in super flex leagues, ready to rock and roll there. Nick Chubb, obviously on the pup. I would wait and see with. Did I say Nick Chubb? I meant Joe Mixon. I would wait and see with Nick Chubb. I'd wait and see with Dameon Pierce. Wait and see with Woody Marks. Fire up your Nico Collins. Fire up Christian Kirk if he's ready to go. Got to look at what's going on there. My guess is hopefully it's a veteran rest day, and we'll have more news. And he's practicing in a limited fashion Thursday, and then he's fully go on Friday and playing Sunday. So we'll see. That's typically how that's going. Yeah, right there. How's Kirk doing? Just like I mentioned, we'll see what's going on there. If I take a look at one of my lineups where I have Christian Kirk, or if I search Christian Kirk, we will see what's on the injury report. And my guess is they're just going to tell us he's on the injury report. He didn't take part in Houston's practice Wednesday. Unable to practice. Could jeopardize his availability. And then, of course, that means Higgins and Knoll would have more playing time, like I mentioned. So that's what's going on there. I think that's it as far as that goes. I did want to share this. If I can do it really quick. Share screen. Go here. Share. Turn the volume up. Ah, come on. What the hell? There you go.
Shroud up, Stroud! Oh! Shroud up, Stroud!
That's how I feel right now. That's how I feel right now. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be game time on Sunday. Should be interesting to see how everything happens in the afternoon slate. And yeah, man, H-Town Huddle's back. We did it, y'all. We ran through everything I wanted to talk about. Nightmare Fuel, like I said, I think is going to be a little underrated. Watch out for that. Matthew Stafford hopefully running for his life. And if we can do that, then we should be able to get it all done. So, yeah, you like that? You like that? It gets you pumped up, man. That's the way I feel about football right now. So, one more draft to go here for me in the next 13 minutes. I will leave you guys with a video. Let's go ahead. I'll run the intro video again. That way you guys catch the new one, and then we'll close it out with the old outro video song, but with some new highlights, if that makes any sense. But appreciate everybody. We will be back next Wednesday talking about recapping what happened this week in fantasy with the Houston Texans and the football game, talking about their week 2 matchup with Tampa Bay, which should be full of fantasy goodness for us to discuss after getting some week 1 stats from both teams and seeing how that matchup shakes out. But we will be ready to do this. Maybe I'll have a guest on. Maybe you'll have some other questions for me. But until we meet next time, appreciate you guys for always showing up and hanging out with me. We'll see you guys online at the draft if you're doing it with the GWN. We will catch you guys tomorrow for the watch party. Please check us out on GWN Network. Like and subscribe. Check out your boy on neonpeacockmerch.com. Support an artist. Do your thing. Appreciate you guys as always. And remember that you cannot spell peace without peacock. Peace out, H-Town. Showing up, showing out on Sunday. We'll catch you guys next time.
I'm Tex forever.
All these structures make me anxious. Look, I'm just tryna f you, not them hoes you came with. Pull up on 6 low, loud and banging. Yeah, Texas forever, still twisting my fingers. Texas forever, you speaking my language. Look, all in the day, but Wednesday. Out in the field trying to school me a deal. Put my name by that X like I'm Kimbe. I do it off of my team, just a young covered in green like I'm Dende. We ain't compadres comprende. Clutch city, crush city, whatever you call it. I stay with my friends, stay hands in, never hand out. Look, I had to go get it, my everybody say I'm the man now. Wrist moving in and out the kitchen, my might pull up on 6 in the whip, whipping it. I'm just a young getting it. All I had was the pot I was pissing in. Now everybody want pieces, percentages. I'm just trying to get my niggas over. I did the work that they want. All this money, cash, cars, clothes, hoes coming in fast, but I'm sipping slow. Cause it's Texas forever. You already know. It's more down at
Tex forever.
It's special. We started at practice. We pressed chains off this week, man. Hey, them boys are tired. Let's keep it up this week, man. Texans!
Suck my dick and pay me, pay me, pay me. She don't call back like, damn. And my brother's always busy. That's why shorty fucking with me. She the only one that give me. Yeah. And I rolled this here for two. I just hop up in the whip. I hit up 6. She smoke it with me. Little bitch.